greetings, afternoon, good morning, whatever time period you see yourself in right now. Um, I'm back today to do a little bit of work today on my app. It's a it's a meal, not a meal, but it's a tracker. It's a health tracker that tracks the food a person eats and lets them see what they're eating when they've eaten it and gives them concise and accurate data on each food item, on the total calories that they've had throughout the day or on a particular day, and other information that they may want to have available to them while they are at it. So far I have done a lot, and my main focus right now is on this form right here. This is the dashboard form, which is, well, obviously the dashboard, the place that the user lands on once once they've logged in. And my goal today is to somehow get information on foods. What I mean by getting information on foods is that I want to give users the opportunity to add their own meals. So add custom meal here, and then it'll be added to the database after they've added their custom meal. Initially, my plan was to have a big database which stored data on a large quantity of foods. So this information would be preset. They wouldn't have to add it themselves because it would already have all of their foods. But then there was a point when I realized that sometimes there may actually be food that's not in the database. And also, that would be a massive database that would take a very long time to put together. So I then came up with a second idea, which was fetch it from the internet. And so far, I have created something that is representative, or not representative, but a kind of a shell of what the code will probably look like. This isn't complete, not by a long shot. There's still a lot I have to do, but I have gotten to a point where I think that I have gotten the general idea of how this is going to look. Now, the main things that I'm working on here are getting user input and then sending a query to some website, which will then fetch information on this food item. And initially, my idea was to go there, take information, and then somehow get the first item found in that query. But then there was something I realized. If I come here, if I say curl should be in my command history, R. Okay, that's a bit upsetting. But then when I ran the command, you would get a big list. I showed in a previous video where you would get a huge list of items, and this list was a JSON, like it was in the JSON format. That's better way of saying it. Was a list formatted in JSON, and I somehow have to navigate that JSON list in Delphi and get the values I wanted. And I explained it more clearly there, but the general idea is that it was a JSON file that gave you a list. And within this list were items, and each item represented a food item. And each food item would have values. And these values would be values for the name of the food item, its nutrients, where this data was gotten from, and other information like that. And I had to somehow navigate that list without any sort of, visual feedback. It's going to be Delphi doing all of the navigation. And so far, the idea is we go to the top of the list and then we go down a step each time. Then we confirm that the data type, because there was a field called data type, and either survey or branded were the ones we were looking for, because they would provide us information on the food item that we wanted, and it would be accurate, because there would be other ones which wouldn't give any information. And then it would go into that item, and then there would be a list, second list, which would be the list for the nutrients. So this value right here being food nutrients. And then I had to somehow take these individual values from that JSON list, because it would be a list where you'd have an item, say, and then the name of the food nutrient would be protein, right? The value name. So here, name, which I store in value name, be protein, lipid, carbohydrate, energy, fat. Well, okay, not fat. Fat is lipid. And then there'd be an amount field, which would be the amount in whatever measurement. So protein, lipid, and carbohydrate being in grams, and then energy being in kilojoules. Oh, no, wait, kilojoule. So, it's a little bit of recap of everything that I've been trying to do. The current spot that I'm at is at a point of deciding whether I should keep that ideology or go for something where I give the user a list of the results that the search has found, and then the user can deal with the searching. Because one thing I also did was that I have a statement here which checks to see if all of these have values. But now that I've thought about it, it would be much better to just go to the user and say, you look at this. Does it look accurate to you? If it does, then they confirm the nutrients are stored in the database, and then they can go on their day eating that meal. And that is what I am going to focus on doing from this point. I just wanted to explain what I was doing, and I'll come back on an update. I'll come back as my commentary self on an update to say where I've gotten on that. So it'll just be a bit of coding, musical coding. So the music's gonna come back from here. Love to hear feedback on what you think I could do to get this done well, and also on this style of video, whether I can improve it or maybe just go back to this plain music. And that's just about it. From here, I give the floor back to the music, and I hope you have a great day and enjoy the rest of the video. Good. I'm back. So far, what we have here, say, is a little screen. Initially, my idea was to input or get the input on this form, but then I decided that it would be better to go to a um, secondary form where I can do everything to my heart's content, so I can make this as complete as possible. So first, we'll get the food item from this edit box. Then when the user presses the query button, we'll get the food name from the edit box. Then we'll validate the name string. Here, as you can see, I tried to, I guess, upgrade my valid string procedure, which is supposed to validate any string, making sure that it has everything it's supposed to have. So I have these flags here, which indicate what's supposed to be in the string, and then if the one of the parameters I pass being the allowed chars, the allowed characters, it has one of these words in it, then the respective flag will become true. Right? As you can see here, letters and numbers. I allow the food names of letters and numbers only. Numbers are a bit of a rare case, but I do believe they can happen. I am going to consider this, and maybe just consider, whoa, let me fix that. Consider not having numbers at all. But that's the general thing that I was going for here. This is still incomplete, and I assume that it's supposed to return true if one of these bunches of conditions are true. But I do also acknowledge that it may also cause an issue if these are true, but then one of these is false, and then we have a true and a false, but then since we have a true, it'll return true when there are numbers that aren't supposed to be there. So I will work on making sure that that works properly. So as I explained before, we get the JSON string. So the string of items is a JSON string by fetching the JSON or the food name as a query in JSON. So first we trim the query to ensure that there's no white space after the name of the food. Then we get the JSON data in this form where I send the query, and then I have this format query function which will format the query to make sure that it is in the format that URLs have. So normally when you're searching for something, you would be https://google or www then q equals and then say word #20 word #20 word. So each word will be separated by #20, and my goal is to separate each word with #20. I haven't tested this yet, so I don't assume this will work exactly the way I want it to, especially here where we may end up searching space 20 #20 and then the word, which I will have to deal with this somehow, but I will find a way to do this. My idea for how to deal with that would probably be something like this, and then I'll just copy it once, and then So it would copy the first character, and then the loop will copy any other. So we'll copy the first word, and then the loop will copy any other words that may be, that any other words separated by spaces that may be in that string. And then once the query has been formatted, we send it here with the final query to be so that final query, so we can send a request to this website, this API, to get the result that we want in JSON. Then it gets sent. Where is it? Okay. Then we get the result. We free the object or the form. Then we send the JSON string to this procedure here, which will sort the items. And I haven't really done anything to make this work properly, so I will have to put time in. I'm gonna have to get that to work. And then I have this, which will populate the combo box, so it'll give users the options that they can select. And we have our arrays up here, which store the food items and their information. So this is the name, and then all of the other details, all the other nutrients. And I say 1 to 10 because I only want 10 different options. So I will do this loop until we have 10 options. And then once we have 10 options, we show the user those 10, or at least as many of the 10 that are there. If one of them is empty, then we just stop there, and then I'll work on getting that to work, but that would be how it's supposed to work. Then once the users have queried, their results appear here. Then they select the item, then they select accept item, and then we'll get the selected item index, get the different values, and then we will show a confirmation dialog asking the user to verify if the data is correct. Then if it will be one dialog and then another one. I wanted to combine them into one, but then I think personally think it's better if I had two, but I will test it to see which one's better. And after that, it creates the food item. I don't need this. Creates the food item. I will also give users the opportunity to select the name of the food the second time in case they want to change it. Then you'll add the nutrients, the proteins, carbohydrates, fats, energy, and calories. I'm not 100% sure about calories. I'm gonna have to see how to get that validated or get that fetched, because the source that I use doesn't return calories. It returns everything other than calories. So I'll have to find a way to get that. And then we just say add food to DB, which means we add the food item to the database, then we free it. I also hope to add sugars as another item that can be seen as like one of the nutrient values, but I will do that once I've gotten this to work. And then we set our buttons modal result to Mr. Yes. This is so that if we select OK, then we come back to this form. If our result is Mr. Yes, not Mr. OK, it's Mr. Yes, or MR Yes, modal result Yes. I just like saying Mr. Then it will refresh the food array and then also refresh the combo box that shows all of our food items here to add whatever item that the user has recently added. And that is a good rundown of what this what the work that I've done today is supposed to accomplish. Now, of course, I'm not 100% sure that all of it will work. There's still a lot of things that I have to validate, especially in terms of testing, because I have not even run this once, and I think if I try, I may run into errors, but it's always good to do a preliminary test. So let's see if this works, or at least if it somewhat works. I don't expect it to work, but I expect it to work somewhat. Okay, so this works the curry, but nothing happens. Okay, that's very weird. Click query. Should be doing all of this. Oh, but then, yeah, that may be a problem. So I can comment this out temporarily. Try to do a second run to see if this works in any way. I don't expect it to because there are a lot of parts that I have not completed, but I at least want to see the first error message that I get so that I know where to start in terms of getting things to work. But so far, the fact that the form opens is a good sign. Okay, error message. Yeah, so there's a lot of that's going to have to happen to get this to work. My assumption is that it's some issue, and I assume it's here because we're looking for a file, but apparently that file does not exist. And I expect that file to exist. So definitely gonna have to see what I can do about the API key. But that is what's supposed to happen. And I hope that after I'm done with all of this, everything works nicely. Everything is works as a well-oiled machine, and our users have a really, really nice, or my users have a really, really nice time when they start up my app. And that's just about it. We would love to get feedback. I would love to get feedback on whatever I could improve, whatever you think I could improve, whatever could be done better, what may be redundant or extra, because sometimes I just spin things up in my head assuming that they would work. But of course, it's nice to get advice from other people who may know how to solve the problems that you have in their own unique ways.